everybody. Welcome to HBCU Con's 28 Days of Black cosplay panel. I'm your host, Mocha Yukon, and tonight we have a lovely panel for you all. But before we get into it, I need to chat a little bit about HBCU HBCUs, and their relevance, and why we celebrate 28 Days of Cosplay. Okay, so HBCUs is a brief acronym for historically Black colleges and universities. They are STEAM institutions of higher education. Typically in the United States, they were established before the Civil Rights Act of 1964 with the intention of primarily serving African Americans. HBCUs continue to grow and provide over 100 institutions across our nation. HBCUs offer a diverse range of degrees, programs, and provide students with a supportive community that is often lacking at other institutions. While there are many challenges to overcome, HBCUs continue to play a crucial role in providing quality education to our students of color. A few of our panelists tonight are alum of HBCUs, and I'll be asking them about their experiences and how that informs their nerdum and their cosplay. This is a brief graphic from HBCU Con's team. Did you all know that HBCUs are responsible for several important sectors of our United States workforce, including our doctors, federal judges, doctors of philosophy, Black military officers, Black veterinarians, Black engineers, Black attorneys, pharmacists, business execs, and Black dentists, as well as a slew of many artists such as Felicia Rashad, Debbie Allen, Chadwick Boseman, etc. So here's a little history about HBCU Con. Celebrating and bridging the gap between historically Black colleges and universities and Black geeks at large. Through this unique lens, we bring you the Black Geek Homecoming experience. We are committed to showcasing the brilliance of HBCUs and their students, as well as providing a platform for Black geeks of all walks of life to come together and connect. And we want to show the world that HBCUs are more than institutions of higher learning education, but also places where some of the best and brightest are being cultivated. So picture here is our founder, Cece, and a few other members of our HBCU con community. So yeah. And here's a little bit of why we celebrate 28 Days of Black Cosplay audience. As some of you all know, like every February, you typically see different platforms, including ours, post Black cosplays of all varying backgrounds cosplaying. So the sole person who is responsible for the 28 Days of Black Cosplay movement is Chaka Cumberbatch, also known as Princess Mentality Cosplay. I briefly grabbed a quote that she said most recently in an interview with Crunchyroll, as this year is the 10th anniversary of 28 Days of Black Cosplay. She quote says that this is about celebrating the multitudes of greatness that exists within the Black cosplay scene and creating space for them to celebrate, uplift, and encourage each other. 28 Days of Black Cosplay was created in 2015 as a way to amplify the Black cosplay experience and also combat the erasure of Black creators' contributions in the cosplay community. And we're going to talk a little bit about our guests for tonight. Give me 1 second, y'all. Get this. Oops. Sorry, my computer froze. I'm so sorry. Okay. So for our first panelist that you see on the screen, dressed as the lovely Chi Chi from Dragon Ball, is young Goku, also known as Adira Abney. She's a cosplayer and content creator from the Washington D.C. area. She is a lover of K-pop, anime, Sanrio, gaming, and all things alternative. Her mom instilled in her from a young age to be yourself because everyone else is taken. After her mom passed, cosplaying K-pop became her primary coping mechanisms, and she began taking her cosplay endeavors more seriously when she enrolled as a student at Hampton University. For YG, cosplay is a major form of self-expression, especially as a Black woman. She loves to experiment with the versatility of hair, makeup, and wardrobe. For cosplay, she was able to join a loving community that eventually turned into family, sharing lessons she learned from her mother is paramount to her. She quotes in her bio, "Be yourself and do what you love without tiptoeing around what other people think. You'll never know who else will support you or like what you like." Everyone, welcome Young Goku. And our next panelist tonight is Venture Bros. Venture Bros hails from Houston, Texas, but he was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. He began his cosplaying journey in 2017, and Venture Bros is an avid armor builder, prop builder, and he sells his cosplay due to his size. He later taught himself how to build and design wigs for Afrocentric textured hair, and Venture Bros has won many cosplay competitions at several conventions across the nation, both online and on stage. In 2021, he won the Cartoon Network Adult Swim Cosplay Contest, and he won the Cosplayer of the Year 3 times from online platform Urban Anime Lounge. Venture Bros has been featured in numerous cosplay magazines, newspapers, and cosplay calendars. His cosplay journey has brought him a lot of fun and joy, and he considers it living this dream. Venture Bros is a proud graduate of Hampton University and a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Everyone, welcome Venture Bros. And our next panelist is Shaker Fawn. Shaker Fawn, also known as Tay, is a New York City-based cosplayer who has been active in the cosplay community for about 8 years. She began her journey with crafting closet cosplays and has been developing the skills to build from scratch. Tay is a passionate advocate for plus-size cosplayers and promotes body positivity through her panel series, Plus Ultra Size, which supports inclusivity within the cosplay community. And last but not least, for our panelists tonight, we have King Benji Banks. Benjamin Banks is a professional wrestler and cosplayer in the Mid-Atlantic area. He has won championships in wrestling as well as judges' choices at the 2024 NecoCon 2024 cosplay contest with his self-made cyborg cosplay, as seen pictured here. He specializes in prop and armor building. Cosplay to Benji means that people come together and they have a fun time. He enjoys meeting new people to show off each other's cosplays, whether they are handmade or purchased. Everyone, welcome King Benji Banks. And lastly, I am your moderator and your host this evening. My name is Atari Gems, but my cosplay alias is Mokahime. I'm a Richmond-based cosplayer who has been actively cosplaying for the past 2.5 years. I'm a lifelong nerd, and I'm continuously learning how to grow my craft. I recently joined the HBCU Con team last year, and I'm very passionate about uplifting Black creatives and fostering creative cosplay-centric spaces. I've previously worked with the Richmond-based group Shinobi Takeover, and I'm a member of Virginia-based group Cosplayers. With a background in radio and indie journalism, I'm very excited to host this panel tonight. Addition to cosplaying, I'm a small brand owner who creates accessories and jewelry. So I'm so excited to host this panel, and we're going to jump right in. Sorry, I had to get it going. Okay, y'all. I don't know why my computer is lagging right now, but I thank you all for your patience. Wait, no. Hold on. Oh no. Can you all see me? For some reason, it's like lagging on my end, and I don't know if I'm freezing or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it's
So you're
it's lagging.
lagging. Yeah,
Yeah.
you lagging, but we can see you. But
yeah.
it's a delay, like a 2 second delay.
Thanks again, because I don't know what's with these questions. Okay. So our first question of the night, and answer this. Can you all each kind of share your cosplay? I know we talked a little bit briefly in the bios, but what was kind of the catalyst that inspired you to start creating costumes or accessorizing so anyone can start off.
All right.
Um,
Well, I pretty much I was in the Air Force. I was a captain in the Air Force, and I had deployed, but I was deployed for 6 months. This was in 2016. But even though I was deployed out, supposed to be deployed out for a year, in the midway point, you come back to the States for 30 days. So I had booked a room for Labor Day weekend at the Hilton. So what happens Labor Day weekend? Dragon Con. At the time, I didn't know what Dragon Con was, though. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know about cosplaying or that. But I booked the room for me, my best friend, and my little brother. And we had went to Dragon Con, and well, we had went to Atlanta, we went to the Hilton, and as soon as we got on the elevator, boom, we see all these cosplayers, and then they started talking to us, and then they invited us to the bar with them at the bottom of the Hilton. If you ever went to Dragon Con, you'll know Dragon Con's a 24-hour con. It's huge parties, and they got a bar right at the bottom of the Hilton. So we go to the bottom of the Hilton, and that's when we meet like a ton of cosplayers, cosplayers from England that came just for that, and pretty much they introduced us to the world of cosplay. And that's kind of how I started. Well, at first it was me and my little brother. That's why Adventure Bros. But then my little brother got accepted into grad school, so he went off to get his master's. And since I was, still holding it down, I was like, well, I'll just start cosplaying. And once you're done with school, you just jump back in. And that's pretty much how I got my start.
All right, I'll go next. So for me, um, it was, I want to say 2018. I had already gone to several cons before then. I was a guest at one because of me being a professional wrestler, and just seeing like all of these amazing cosplayers and these awesome costumes, it always made me want to cosplay. But at the time, like I was close to like 500 pounds, so I was just like, bro, like if I really want to cosplay, like I'm going to have to lose weight because being a plus size cosplayer, it's hard getting costumes, right? So, I started working on myself. I started losing weight. I started watching anime called My Hero Academia, which really inspired me to want to cosplay as Deku. And that was the first anime cosplay that I did back in I want to say it was like after the pandemic. Yeah, it was Deku, and from there it's just been a phenomenal journey of just meeting so many incredible people. Um, making my own props and whatnot. Like you had said, Gems at the start, my cyborg. I just know like when it comes to the cosplays that I do, a lot of them you can't purchase online. Um, so Cyborg, Alphonse Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, like those are these big builds that I mean you could possibly find them online, but it's going to cost a lot more money. And I just always love a challenge, and yeah, that's my story.
I could go next. I guess I started, well, with closet cosplay before I even knew it was a thing. So I would say around probably 2018, I started just playing dress up. And then once the COVID pandemic hit, I started actively posting on social media because I saw that other people were dressing up as characters. I'm like, wow, I've been doing this the whole time. But because of my size, I was always self-conscious and shy about posting. So one day when I was sitting at home just locked in while the rest of the world was going into chaos, I just posted one of the muses from Hercules post, and I actually like gained my confidence. And from there, I just started crafting my own cosplays. I never thought that I would move beyond my bedroom or like doing cosplays, but now I'm actually working um like building from scratch. And like Benjamin said, finding a costume, let alone a full-blown cosplay, is so hard for the plus size community. So before I would like wait until Halloween would come, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna dress up as this for Halloween. And then at some point in my adulthood, I realized, oh, I don't have to wait. I could just dress up anytime I feel like it. So that was a great accomplishment within these past few years that I've gotten through cosplay.
Yeah. Loved everyone's stories. That's amazing. I kind of started a little, I wouldn't say young, but I've always been a nerd. One of like the first games that was ever purchased for me was Pokemon on the DS. So from there, um, I just always liked like Pokemon and stuff. So Halloween, I remember I dressed up as Pichu, and then I did Pikachu, and then I couldn't find Raichu online, so I just skipped that one. But after that, I was like similar to you guys, like I don't have to wait until Halloween. I can dress up whenever. And so um it was Awesome Con here one year, and it was my first time ever hearing about it. And I like forced my friends to go with me. I'm like, I will buy your ticket. Let's go together. And so I kind of did that for a few years in high school, before I went to college. Um with my friends, and they like at first because they didn't know anything about anime, they didn't watch it, they didn't like the nerdy stuff. Like I was like I said, I was a nerd, but I kind of like hid it a little bit because my friends weren't into it, but I would go home and just go do whatever I wanted to do. So bringing them, they kind of got into it because they saw people liking my costumes, they saw people like interacting with me interacting with other people, they saw how it was a community, so they were just like, oh, okay, like she be doing her thing, but I'm gonna still do my thing. But it was just like, I appreciated the support. So that's kind of how I started. And then COVID happened and I was bored in the house. So I'm like, let me just go back to my roots. And then I had friends reach out to me in college to like do professional photo, or I guess I would call it professional because it's like in front of a camera in a studio and stuff like that. They would ask me to do photo shoots. And so I did like one of my actual first cosplay photo shoots in college as, Guy Sai from Future Diary. And then from there, I kind of just, it just went up. And then because Young Goku was always a thing. Like I like one year for Christmas, I asked my uncle to buy me like a necklace that said Young Goku. I was like 15, 16 or something like that. So it's always been a thing, but she didn't become somebody, I guess, until after COVID. So that's my little story.
Awesome, y'all. Thank you for sharing. Our next question here is okay. So, what are some of the unique challenges that you have faced being a Black cosplayer in the cosplay community, and how have you navigated those challenges?
Racism. Being called black this, black that, being called monkey, being called the N-word every time. It's like, I mean, I've cosplayed black characters and still got called the N-word. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's no escaping the racism when you're a black cosplayer.
Definitely the racism. And sometimes I make a joke about it, like I made it. Like when somebody comments like monkey or something, I'm like, oh, I've made it. Like, I've gotten to that status where somebody is calling me a name of such like, and it's of course it's easy for them to do it because they're behind a screen. They don't have to show their face or anything like that. But I also kind of face a lot of I would say like a bit of perversion. Like it's kind of granted, not to say granted, but we all know anime is already perverted. But then when you go into these spaces where you're supposed to feel safe, you can sometimes feel extra perversion. So I really did appreciate the cosplay is not consent movement and people actually like standing on it and like taking it serious because, people just assume, especially now because it's becoming so popular. I wouldn't say again, but because it is becoming so popular, because it was not when I was growing up, but because it's becoming so popular, some people think they can just come to these things and act how they want to act, or just act like an asshole, a buffoon, however the heck, because they see somebody dressed half naked, or they just see somebody looking like somebody they really like, and they just want to approach them. And so, I would say I face a lot that, but I do appreciate that movement a lot.
Like I feel like a lot of people, like when I first started cosplaying, I was real aggressive when something would go viral and somebody would say something crazy in the comments. Because in person, I feel like our experiences might be different because I'm a big guy. So a lot of times in person, I don't face these type of issues. But online, I face it like all the time. And I was real aggressive at my approach when somebody would say something. And I had to really learn to like, okay, tone it back, just block people, or even like I started cutting comments like in the last 6 months when, it'd just be like thousands of like negative comments, So, but when I first started cosplaying, I was trying to like, I was like, oh, with
Like,
your mama, and
not
something going off every time, but I had to learn, like, look, that's unnecessary stress. Like, look, don't let them give you that bad energy. That's what they want. Don't feed into it, So.
Well,
I feel like
piggy.
growing up. Oh, sorry.
No. You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I feel like growing up, I've seen those comments on other cosplayers, photos and whatnot, and that kind of prevented me from cosplaying as non-Black characters for a little bit, like when I first started out, because I was shy, so whenever I felt like posting one of my cosplays, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to deal with that. So maybe I should just stick with Black cosplays. But I think social media has made my skin thick where I could take those comments. And if I want to cosplay as Mia Thermopolis, Queen of Genovia, I can do that.
Period.
Here,
Princess Mia, yeah.
So to piggyback off of what everybody was saying, I mean, like dealing with racism, it is one of the hardest things as a Black cosplayer that we'll go through. I remember before I had started cosplaying, because I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I was in an anime group, and somebody had posted a photo of Jotaro from Part 4, and his white outfit with the purple shirt and whatnot, and I thought that dude looked cool as hell, man. But the comment section was filled with so many racist comments, and I'm just like, why are people like this, man? So it kind of made me not want to cosplay early on, because I was just like, man, if I start cosplaying, people are gonna be like Crocodile, for example. It's like, oh, Crocodile's white, Luffy's white, Jotaro's Asian, but they'll still like all of these characters are Asian, but they'll say that they're white, which is crazy. But to piggyback off of what Venture Bros was saying, um, when you have a smaller account, you really don't experience a lot of racism. It's not until like you start growing, because like that's something that I noticed when I first started out. Like I wasn't really getting a lot of like, oh, this person's Black, or they'll use the N-word and whatnot. But it's like as soon as I started to grow more,
Yeah.
that's when like the racist comments started coming in. And um I had interviewed a Black cosplayer named Wo Chris Wo, and I remember he had gave me the best advice when I first started out, and it was, if somebody's going to come into your comment section and all they can take away is that you're Black, and like they can't comment on like how good your cosplay is, their opinion doesn't matter. So like that's the mindset that I have. That's like that was like back in 2022, I believe. But yeah, that's the mindset that I have now when it comes to racist comments in the comment section.
thank you all for sharing. For me, I do not have a big platform, but my experiences navigating racism is mostly in person because the city that I live, former capital of the Confederacy, so you know what it is. And I've had like some of the most evil stares. Oh my gosh, I'm just like, whatever. I'm black. I'm beautiful. I'm fucking Boma. Like, yeah. uh, moving on from that, um, what are some of the stereotypes and misconceptions that you've received about Black cosplayers or cosplay in generals, and how do you address them?
Ooh, ooh. I hate when people tell you that you need to cosplay as a black character. Like they try to like put us in a box, and like there's already like so there's not that many black characters in anime to cosplay as in general. But like I always hate because like I mentioned JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where it's just like, oh, you should cosplay as this black character, or you should cosplay as that black character. And I mean, even with One Piece, like I like the character Blackbeard, but it's just like, oh, well, you should cosplay as Blackbeard because you have a beard and you're black. And I'm just like, if you tell me to do that, I'm not going to cosplay as the character now. Even though like I would like to, I'm not going to cosplay as somebody just because you're telling me to cosplay as that character.
I think for me in the beginning, it was, is she faking it? You know, they think because we're black or because I'm a woman, like I can't like anime and I can't like, watch this stuff. So, and that was basically because like in the beginning, I was one of the very few girls that was very vocal about like liking anime and gaming and cosplaying and stuff like that. So like seeing other people joining, and then like when it became really big, like Megan Thee Stallion and everybody, it was like, okay, cool. Like now you see we're really not faking. Like you always want to talk that smack, but so I think that was one of like the most frustrating stereotypes that I was dealing with starting for sure.
Yeah, I've had similar experiences from as both of you. One growing up and basically hiding the fact that I like anime because I went to a small all black private school. So the girls that were in my class, they didn't know anything about anime, or they thought I was weird for liking anime because it's not the typical uh black thing to do and whatnot. So I kind of felt like left out, and because of that I had to hide um what I actually like, let alone dressing up as a character. But that and like I said before, expected to cosplay as a certain black character or the only black character in the show. I actually did that once. Only because most of the characters involved a lot of body paint and I was not feeling body paint at the time, so it was easier for me to do that with a character of darker skin. But being expected to cosplay as a black character is so limiting, and it's prejudice without it's backhanded, basically backhanded prejudicism, if that's a word or thing.
I think for me, again, like a lot of the stereotypes I've encountered in are in real life, but like outside of cosplaying at cons, I'm in the rave scene here and I'm in the music scene. And anytime there's like a theme party, I cosplay. And one of the number one things people assume is that I have a OnlyFans or that I'm some
I was
type
gonna
or
say that too. I was gonna say
and
that too.
yeah, and so me personally, full transparency, I'm burlesque adjacent because like when I sent some of my stuff, it's in the burlesque scene, and some of the rave spaces, there are go-go dancers, there are strippers. So and because I kind of fit that aesthetic, but it's just kind of like, no, I'm not. But I think it's cool that you do, but also like just because a woman like shows up in that manner doesn't mean that she is.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I was definitely gonna touch on that too, just because like um I see a lot of women, not even black creators, you know, mostly white creators, they use anime in a very sexual way to like get followers and like, you know, to get the male attention. And I knew that was going to be the game plan, like when I started seeing everybody, you know, hop on anyway. So it's just because they see that, and then and you know, like you said, because a lot of people are that do that stuff are already in the scene already. It's just very looked upon, like everybody does it, and it's just really not the case. You know, consent is very important. Ask if you really need to, you know, be respectful. Do not assume, because it does get a little weird sometimes. Somebody's assuming that's all you do, or that you even want to do that. And even if you do it, that you want to do it that with them at that time or whatever. So
Yeah. Venture Bros, did you want to chime in on this one?
Oh, you have to give me the question. I had to go to the bathroom real quick.
Oh no, you're fine. The group we were talking about, the question itself was, have you encountered any stereotypes or misconceptions about Black cosplayers, and how do you address them in the community? And then we all were giving examples of either microaggressions in person or online, and how we, you know, addressed it.
Oh, okay. So I can think of a ton of things, whether it's online or it's in person, where when it comes to like how Black cosplayers are treated, and especially with stereotypes, right? So one big problem that I hate is I love doing collabs, but do not ask me to do the only Black character for a collab. Like that pisses me off with the quickness. Like, don't like that's happened to me so many times, and it's like it's like I dread when, especially like if you got a lot of like cosplayers with big followings, because they want everything to be to the T. So when they contact me for like collabs, I'm like, I already know it's coming. I already know it's coming. It's like, and it's so bad. I don't know if you guys watch Has Been Hotel and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
They'll ask me to do it. It's so bad. You know, it's not Black characters there, but it's Black voice actors. So
Yeah.
what do they want me to do? The character who's voiced by Keith David, just think the voice actor is Black. I'm like, what? What? I'm thinking they wanted me to be Lucifero or something. No, they
right.
wanted me to be Keith
They want to
David's
be the
character.
Black man.
Right. I'm like, come on, man. Like, damn. So
It's
yeah,
like there
that's
will
like
be signs.
right. So that's like that just gets on my nerves like to the T. Um, as in is in person, let me think. So you'll have microaggressions because certain people don't like you cosplaying certain characters, right? Um, and it's ridiculous because cosplay, you should be able to cosplay whoever you want. So when when I
Respectfully.
first started cosplaying, I was, huh?
I was saying cosplay who you want respectfully, because some people,
Right,
you know, but yes.
right.
Sorry.
So I was cosplaying, you know, when I first started, Miles Morales, you know, one of my favorite characters, I cosplayed Miles. But when I first started cosplaying, I was 305 pounds. So I weighed a whole lot more. So when I first started doing Miles, you know, oh man, in person, like it's one thing to receive racism. I never received that in person because I'm a big dude. But kids, especially if you're plus size, oh man, them kids was tearing me up, man. They was like, oh my
If you want to
God,
hear
there's
the
that
truth.
Spider-Man and Miles fell off. I'm just like, ooh, I was like, man, I want to knock
Kids
out
are
some kids, but
ruthless.
I was like, you know what, they kids, I can't do nothing. But man, them kids were just, oh man, they were laying into me. So
Laughing.
in person, you know, I received a lot of like backlash for like my size at first, you know,
Kids
just
are
because I
ruthless.
was 305, yeah. And this was working a kids event, like this was for like kids who had leukemia, and I was
Ah,
like, these
are you
damn sick
talking
kids.
shit?
I'm like, I can't even get respect from sick kids.
Are you talking shit? You see?
Right. I'm like, you already got leukemia. I'm here for
You got,
you.
you got one more time, Lord.
Right. So
Tunde put in
it's
the
like,
chat.
yo, man. That's why that term fuck them kids. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna have to coin that for a little bit.
Wendy Williams said, she was like, if you want to know if you ugly or not, if like you or your friend are ugly, ask a kid.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and they would
kids ain't
say,
lying. They ain't lying. They ain't pulling punches. I was just like, man, these little motherfuckers, man. So yeah. I've experienced it two ways, you know. But like I said, in especially when I've cosplayed characters that aren't black, then I might not catch direct racism, but I'll get like criticism, like, oh, you know, you should try to get this wig, because like I said, I do all Afrocentric wigs, so I don't usually ever do. I think I've done like straight hair maybe once or twice, so everything else is Afrocentric. So when I do a character that's not black and I'll do Afrocentric hair in person, you know, this is comes from like fans, other nerds, from other cosplayers, you know, and they'll just, even black cosplayers have said stuff where they'll be like, you know, if you want to get like a good straight hair wig, you want to go here to this place. And I'm like, so
the
I can't have
audacity.
locks, I can't have bright blue locks, but you want me to buy light blue straight hair? Like that's, and they'll make comments, you know, like say like, oh, it looks kind of goofy like that. You should get this. Like my Prince Peach, I got that recently from a cosplayer, and I had to tell him about himself. I'm not gonna put him out there, but he had said like he was like, oh, he was like seeing the Princess Peach hair in person, it looks even more outlandish and ridiculous. And I was like,
Wow.
They're a
I was
fictional
like,
character.
I'm like, look,
Bold.
man, I know we in cosplay, but you know, I can't still whoop your ass. Don't like, don't try
Bold.
that. Like, don't keep your opinions to yourself, you know.
Right.
But you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, just the backlash. It's cosplay is supposed to be expressionism. You're supposed to be able to express it how you want, how you enjoy it. If they have a negative opinion, hey, keep that shit to yourself. Because it's like, why are you
Mhm.
trying to rain on my parade? But that happens, you know, and being a black cosplayer, I think it happens more than any other demographic. I'm sure they might have to deal with something, but not on the scale like we do.
One,
Yeah.
yeah, one more thing, just because you said that, it just brings me to a, I forgot what con it was. It may have been AWA or some of the sort. And, you know, because they get really hard on dress code and stuff like that. And this brings me back to like the perversion, because from jump as a black woman at the age of 12, I'm already seen as 18, just off rip, because that's just how society is. So to bring my point that I'm trying to make is, at the con, Dose from One Punch Man, the Monster Princess, I saw a plus size white woman in it, and I saw a thick black joint in it. Who do you think they made change their clothes?
Of
The
course.
John.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's just oh sorry, it's just unfortunate that, like, we're just sexualized more, and we're the ones that have to suffer the repercussions when somebody's doing the exact same thing. So I've been seeing that. I wouldn't say I've been seeing that a lot, but I've seen that a few times, and it's just really
Like,
distasteful.
I've seen it a lot. That happened to Nurse Becky Janer. That
See,
happened to
that's
her
what I think,
at
that
Anime
literally,
NYC. Yeah.
literally.
She had
But
did
no,
her.
so it was Anime NYC. It wasn't AWA. I know it was one of
Yeah,
them
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was at Anime NYC because it was a Caucasian girl with the same exact cosplay, it's just she was super skinny. So they
No,
said
no, the
to
other one I was
her,
talking about, she was thick. The other lady,
oh, okay.
she was a plus size Caucasian woman, and the lady was thick, and they just made her put her clothes on anyway. And I'm just like,
Yeah, they got on
like,
Jen.
everybody
It
put
was
their clothes
like,
on then, because
so
that
let,
is a
let
very
me
Right.
revealing cosplay in general.
so let me ask you guys something, because like y'all's experiences that y'all have had, it seems like these
Mm-hmm.
happen at a lot of bigger cons. Because like, like here in Virginia, like we got a lot of smaller cons, and it's just like
Yeah.
I've never really like experienced racism at a con, or like had somebody come up to me and tell me like, oh, like, you should do this, you should do that. But it seems like the cons that you guys go to, like where it's more heavily populated, you're gonna experience this stuff more.
well, the
Yeah.
thing is, the more, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, you go, because you have something to say.
I was just gonna say, the bigger the con, the more likely you'll run into ignorance, right? So
Yeah.
if you've got 4,000 people, it might be 400 ignorant people. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing the number out there. But you're talking 100,000 people, you'll have thousands of ignorant people,
Yeah.
and people who don't care, they're not considerate. They do it to like try to look cool in front of their friends, shit like that, or they're just underlying straight up racist, So that's the thing about those bigger cons. It's just the more likelihood you'll run into somebody like that.
And also with the bigger cons, it's the people that run it. So if they're not part of the community, or if they're racist themselves, they're going to put these rules in place. They're going to have these barriers for people of color, or just people of all shapes and sizes as well, because they don't want that there. And I do understand in some circumstances there are children, so do be respectful, but at the same time, I just feel like have that same standard across the board.
And at smaller cons,
Yeah.
I've said this plenty of times before. My favorite times have usually been at the smaller cons because they're more
Right.
intimate, especially
Yeah.
small anime
Yeah.
cons. Like they're very intimate. Everybody's really close. So it's
Mhm.
like, I didn't deal with as much when I went to like smaller cons. But at the big ones, man, it's almost like clockwork. It's just a matter of like which day. If it's like Friday or Saturday, it's happening. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, because like I just recently
You
went to
gotta pick your battles.
KatsuCon, and I mean,
Oh
if you
God. Sorry.
if you go to if you go to KatsuCon, like you're not really gonna hear about like a lot of drama until like after the con is over. But
Yeah.
it's mostly like just stuff that happened, like the pipe, you know what I'm saying, or the situation that happened at the gazebo, which I don't even know if that's true or not. Like it was something that was being spread around. But yeah, I
It's
just
probably true.
Nate.
Katsu
It
wild, man.
is.
Yeah,
Katsu,
Katsu's wild every year,
Katsu
every year.
crazy. Because I
The
used to go to
sewage
Katsu every
line.
year. Yeah.
DC get down. Well,
But
DMV.
it's still a fun con, don't get me wrong. Katsu isn't my top 5. But it's the reason I stopped going every year. Mainly because the security started really cracking down on everybody.
Oh
But that's
yeah,
because of how crazy it was.
because like usually I record content, like I interview people at cons, and this was the first year that I really couldn't interview anybody because the staff kept saying no tripods, and I'm just like, well, when did this happen?
Whoa, damn.
Yeah, they were like no tripods, and
They just always.
it's because one person messed up. Like like there's a lot of photographers that come in there, like they have like all this stuff with them, and maybe like they had the tripod set up everywhere, and it was an issue. But like this
So
was
what
my
are the
third.
photographers? Are they allowed to do it? Or
No,
just
the photographers they couldn't use tripods either. Like yeah,
That's
you could
insane.
they said that you could only use them outside of the con. And y'all already know it's cold as hell at
Right
KatsuCon.
on the water.
Yeah, right
Yeah,
on the water. It's cold February.
yeah,
Last
so
year they were telling people they couldn't be in the atrium. They couldn't hang out
yeah,
in that
yeah.
little atrium
That was the
area.
last year
that's
I went when they
insane.
said you cannot stand around
And
the
it's like, who
gazebo
are
or
you
the
going to?
atrium. You got to keep
We
walking.
stay
I
here
was like,
every year,
what?
boy. You get on somewhere.
Y'all
It's always
are
something.
funny. But for the sake of time, I would love to hear more con stories at another time. But just for the sake of time, my next question is who was the first cosplayer that you ever saw? And it's okay if you're like, I don't remember them or I knew who they were. And yeah.
Are we talking about like in person or online?
Right. In general.
It does well, okay, I guess in general, I'll go first. Because this one was not in the notes, it just kind of popped in my head. But it kind of informs the next question that's on my notes. So when I was about 19 or so, I was online and there was this one cosplayer and her name is like Ginger on Facebook, and it was her and 3 other Black women, and they were all the Powerpuff Girls, and then they did like a trio of Mortal cosplay. I can't figure their cosplay troupe. I'm still friends with them, but like that was like the first time I saw like Black women cosplay, and they were like making costumes, and like Ginger now she like works for like a cruise line doing like costumes and stuff. And then I think secondly, the first non-Black cosplayer that I saw gain prominence, not to bring, non-Black people in this like space, I gotta admit it was Yaya Han. Because after I discovered Ginger and her little trio, and I can't figure their trio's name, I just kept seeing Yaya Han everywhere. And this was like maybe 10, 15 years ago. Because I think I just started college. I was like, huh, people do that? Cool. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, I could tell you the first when I got on the elevator at Dragon Con, like I told you, that was the first time I saw cosplayers. But if we're talking like the first time like I saw a cosplayer that was like a popular, famous cosplayer, it was Yaya Han. She was at that Dragon Con. She was literally cosplaying. I remember she was cosplaying Daenerys from Game of Thrones. She had the dragon on her shoulder, everything. And I was like, I wonder is her hair blonde or is that a wig? And then I asked her, no, because I didn't know anything about cosplay. So I was like, is that your real hair? And she was like, no. And she was real nice, and she was cool. But that was the first big cosplayer I met. As far as black cosplayer, I hadn't seen any black at that Dragon Con. Like I saw some, but I didn't really get a chance to talk to them because they looked like they were in photo shoots, so I didn't want to interfere with that. But I saw a lot of Star Wars black cosplayers, and I didn't get to talk to them because they were doing a photo shoot, like I said. But that was the first time I saw black cosplayers, and I was like, okay, it's a lot of black people into it. So
Yeah, I
Um,
also,
oh,
sorry.
do you,
The Shaker Fun go on, and then Young Goku.
Yeah, I had a similar experience where I wasn't actively going to the cons, but like passing through through the Javits Center, I would see like a lot of people in cosplay. But I would say that the first black famous cosplayer I've seen was Cleo Thomas from Holes. And
Hey.
yeah, he did a whole production and a whole teaser for Powerline, his Powerline cosplay, and then when he actually debuted it, I'm like, oh man, I gotta get into this, and that was like inspirational. But that's the only black cosplayer that I remember that really stuck in my mind. Everything was just like through passing and whatnot.
For me personally, I guess like the first time I did see cosplay was at the cons that I was going to. But they were like mostly white. I didn't really see that many black people. Um, when I was when I was in high school. But I want to say even around that time, because I'm not sure our age difference, but like after COVID, I really lost track of like time and like what year was what year and whatever. So
age difference, lost track of time.
bear with me, like, but I want to say the first black cosplayer I saw for real popular online and that was like inspirational was Kira Please, because she had like the curly hair and like she was dressing up as like nostalgic characters, and it was just like, oh my god, like this is cute, like, and it's different
I
because
went to
growing up,
college with her.
yeah, like growing up, my main thing was just to be different. I didn't want to be like anybody else. So like after seeing that, I was like, okay, let me like kind of dress it up and like switch it up a little bit. But of course, at the anime convention, seeing the cosplayers, like the builds and like the armor and the weapons, it was just like, oh my god, this is so cool. Like people really get in it. 'Cause, yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, I want to say because Otakon used to be in Baltimore, right?
I don't know. I thought it
Yeah,
always
yeah,
has
yeah.
been
No,
in
it was
DC, but I
no,
don't
no.
know.
Otakon just stopped being in Baltimore in 2018.
Oh,
Okay, so
really?
Mm-hmm.
because I remember, I want to say like this was probably like '06, '07, and my family, we were going on a trip to New York, and we had cut through Maryland, and that was the first time I had ever seen cosplayers. And my
Mhm.
uncle, he was just like, "Do you know who any of these people were?" And there was somebody cosplaying as Gara on the corner, and I was just like, "Bro, like, how are they carrying that?" Like, it was so awesome. Because I was just like, do they got like a giant peanut on their back or something? Like, how did they make that? I didn't know. But yeah, that was my first time ever seeing like cosplayers in person. Um, but the first black cosplayer that I ever met, it was at a con here in Virginia called BAM Anime and Toy Convention. And there was this little kid and they were cosplaying as Goku. And I remember I was sitting at the table and I got up from the table and like I felt like a kid on Christmas because I was like, oh snap, they were cosplaying as Kid Goku. Like I love Dragon Ball Z. So that was like the first black cosplayer that I had ever saw, and then I started seeing more come into the convention. But it's just crazy how Coming up, like you really didn't see a lot of black cosplayers online and stuff like that. So I'm thankful that like there's a space for us now in the community, and it's grown a lot more since then as well.
And yeah, not only did it grow, but the algorithm, like I would have never thought until after I went to DragonCon, I used to never see anything online. Because I knew it was one comic convention. I knew San Diego Comic Con existed, but I didn't know there was any other one. Then lo and behold, C2E2 and ASIN are right there in Chicago. And these both cons have over 100,000 people. But I had never heard of either one of those cons until after I had went to DragonCon. So I was like, and like I said, DragonCon was an accident. But the only one I heard about was San Diego Comic Con. So that's the only place I knew. And I still didn't know about cosplayers. Because when I would see like online, like the few cosplayers I did see, I just thought like it was old pictures from like the previous Halloween or something. I was like, oh, they really snapped off for Halloween. You know what I'm saying? I would think like that, but I think like, oh, that was last week, at a con. So
But bro, it's crazy because for Halloween you have some cosplayers that do 31 days and they have a cosplay for every single day of the month.
I've seen some cosplayers. Now I ain't gonna call nobody out, and technically, there's no rules to cosplay. But what you doing entering contests against people dressing up for Halloween? That ain't right. Because your skills are far superior.
Yes,
No,
you
man.
can.
That's like me going to play a basketball game against fifth graders. Come on, bro.
If they let you do it, shoot.
Y'all are
My friend, she was cleaning up. She won like 3 different comps, and she's like, "Yeah, I won $500 here." And I was like, "Wait. Are these just like your coworkers?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "They're just dressed up for Halloween. They're going to Party City and stuff."
I dress up. I joined a contest. I won one time. I don't care. I won $20.
Halloween.
Holiday.
So you part of the problem.
All right, so look, right. So I'll say this, right. I entered my first cosplay contest. It was at a trivia night for Nintendo, right? And I was just joking around. I was wearing regular clothes. There were people in there that had on like legit costumes. And when they passed me the microphone, they were like, "Who are you cosplaying as?" I was like, "Oh, I'm Street Thug #1 from Final Fight." I ended up winning the cosplay contest. I won $25 to Video Game Heaven here in the area. But there was also a Ness cosplayer there who was black, and he won $25 too. I only won because of the fan vote. Sometimes, I am a professional wrestler. It is easy for me to work a crowd. That's the only reason why I won. But yeah, don't ever use your powers for evil if you're charismatic.
That's not
You hear what the
evil.
man just said? Don't use your powers.
That's not evil.
Girl,
but there were people crying.
Contests before, like what?
No, I'm one of those.
No. I think I know my place because I've never joined a cosplay contest, but I would join a costume contest. I would.
Against normies though.
Yes, because I feel like me personally, like my cosplays are good, but I haven't yet have made a cosplay that I would personally think is cosplay contest worthy. But is it costume contest worthy? Yeah.
I love this.
This is the duality of cosplay.
That's just me though.
Different ideologies right here.
Now, if somebody did come to a costume contest with the full armor, like Escanor or something with the damn axe Rita and shit, like that's I mean like that's too much. You're doing too much.
They're gonna be like they're gonna be like, wait a minute, I know you ain't talking. You just got to beat them over there.
Y'all are crazy. Shaker fun, and then we gotta go to the next question.
Can I just say that I'm one of those people who actually lost to someone not in full cosplay? Like I went to an after party where there was a cosplay contest, right? I was dressed in my Ursula cosplay. Everyone was in cosplay. And then the fan vote comes in because someone wore a Spider-Man t-shirt and that guy won 3-day passes to Anime NYC.
See?
That's insane.
Wow.
I just think you should just know your place in the contest.
Well, see, he won.
I'll say this.
See, it's like no.
But Benjamin, she deserved it.
No, but Benjamin said the best. When he went on stage, he knows how to work the crowd, right? Charisma does play a part. I always tell people who enter contests, there's 5 things that judges look at. The first thing they look at anything you've built props wise. Second thing, they look at sewing. Third thing, they look at your wigs. Fourth thing, they look at your makeup. And the fifth and final thing,
You had
it's
a
always your
Spider-Man t-shirt.
presentation. It's always your presentation. Yep. How you that charisma goes a long way.
With a Spider-Man t-shirt?
Well, look,
hey, if he came on there doing this is I'm Spider-Man, baby, I'm king of the world. If he did that, hey, people,
it was his
vibe. Hyped up, hey.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, because there's a new Black con here in Virginia called Atlantic Comic Con. They had their first con last year, and
moving on, y'all. The question, yeah. So the next question, and we briefly touched on this, like this kind of topic, anyways. So how do you all feel about the current state of representation of Black characters in cosplay, or just, you know, some of y'all have touched briefly on how y'all feel that cosplay now, at least for Black creators, has become more mainstream with like Megan Thee Stallion or like viral Halloween posts from celebrities. But how do you all feel about it in general?
I feel like we're dominating it. I feel like we're dominating cosplay because we're making it our own and we're turning it into our own style. And regarding like characters, I like that there's more African American characters. I was watching a reel. Someone had posted a reel about the hairline for Black characters and how nowadays it's like actually lined up.
Lined up.
Oh, yeah, you saw that.
Oh, yeah, it's not the.
I like it. I just don't want them to always give them the Killmonger haircut.
Yeah, the Killmonger hair. Oh,
I'm so sick of that. I'm like, come on, man. Just give them a different style, man. You don't gotta always do the same swoop on the side. Like, you don't always gotta do that. But I do like the fact that they've come up with so many more Black characters, because like if you notice, I do a lot of characters, but if it's a cool Black character, I'm doing them instantly. Like Hobie, literally, I went to see Across the Spider-Verse. Like that weekend is when I did the Hobie cosplay. So it's like if I see a cool Black character, I'm on it. The one I'm working on now, Yasuke from the Assassin's Creed, about to come out. So like if it's a cool looking Black character, I'll do them in a heartbeat. You know, and I'm glad that more are looking good versus looking like how they used to look in Dragon Ball Z and stuff, and just look like real ridiculous and just like
stereotypical
character. Yeah, like
big lips, big nose.
Big lips. Yeah.
Honestly,
exactly. I
like,
hated that. You know,
honestly, like not even on the anime front, but just like, okay, I'm gonna probably be a dweeb about it, but just like seeing like people really go up for like Michonne from like Walking Dead or any of the cast characters of the Black Panther. I felt like that neurologically like changed our community for good, because I was seeing kids at the time when Black Panther came out. I was working at the Boys and Girls Club, and there were like kids that didn't not like no type of STEAM content, no nothing. They had their little outfit on. They was like, we gonna be scientists. I'm like, yes, baby, yes.
No, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing, because that representation matters. That representation takes an effect, and it takes an effect on, you know, I don't really like Anthony Mackie too much, but he was right when he said that him being Captain America makes kids want to be Captain America and makes white kids want to be Black Captain America too. That was true when he said that, because I was like, you know what, that's actually a realistic thing, because everybody would think like, oh, they just want to be Steve Rogers. But then when they see Falcon do cool things, it's like, wait, I want to be Falcon. I want to be, you know, the Black Captain America. And so that stuff always makes an impact, whether, you know, they like to admit it or not, you know. And especially to your point about the celebrities, my bad. To your point about the celebrities, I think that's a big deal that, you know, Megan Thee Stallion and a lot more, like, especially on the wrestling side, you know, all Black women who are doing cosplays, that I think that's amazing, because it shows how deeply we're into nerd culture. Like, you know, like many things for us, it took a lot for us to break out of that mold and admit that we like something. But it's been so embraced now. I don't think it's for just like, oh, I'm doing this to be popular when these celebrities are doing it. Because a lot of people try to say Megan's doing it for gimmick. I'm like, no, that's not a gimmick. She clearly, I was like, some of the cosplay, she's doing JoJo stuff. You know what I'm saying? She's doing a lot of niche anime stuff. I was like, that's not mainstream, you
Yeah.
know. So I think that, you know, this shows that they're just like big nerds, and I like to see it. I don't know about Michael B. Jordan. I kind of think that was gimmick.
But like even with that, I think sometimes a lot of people, because I'm a huge Missy Elliott fan. I saw her and Buster last year on tour, and I was telling them they were like some of the first people that I saw be like strange. Like Missy was running around in a Mega Man suit, and I didn't know like 20 years. Oh, it was like, oh, okay, she was cosplaying, but we didn't have like nobody was talking about it like that. Or like Buster Rhymes is creating characters and shit. Oh, he cosplaying. Okay, like, you know, sometimes a lot of times it'd be right there, but we don't ever concept. I don't know why, but like for some reason when we see like odd black people or black people that are doing these things that are coded as white, we never give them the right credit or like framing that they deserve.
No, that's real talk. Like
like Grace
I created
Jones.
that meme.
Yeah,
I
Grace
created a meme.
Jones.
Yeah, Grace Jones definitely. But I created that meme where I put that video you're talking about, Sock It To Me by Missy. And it was her and Lil Kim in Mega Man outfits and the Brat. And I was like, you can't never say that black women aren't into nerd things when Missy was doing this way back 20, 30 years ago. You know, and then speaking of Busta Rhymes, I was watching his old video Fired Up, and I didn't even realize he was in the Dragon Ball Z rejuvenation tank with
shit, yeah, he is.
I didn't even realize that until 2025 because I was watching. I was like, "Is that a rejuvenation tank?" And he's floating in there like this, and then busting out of it. I was like, "Wait!" I was like, "Yo, Buster was doing DBZ stuff way back then. I didn't even realize it." You know, so.
Period.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That.
Okay. So I'm going to go because we touched a little bit on the next question, so I'm going to skip to another one. Can you speak to the importance of infusing your cultural identity into your cosplay creations? Young Goku and Adventure Bros, you are HBCU grads. If you want to speak on that question specifically, and if you ever repped the school or Divine Nine that you're a part of in cosplay.
So me personally, I was kind of dicked. Dude, I graduated during COVID, so I was dicked real bad. Just fucked over it. And I had a cosplay graduation photo shoot idea and everything. It was gonna be so fire. But I didn't well, I graduated, but you know, I didn't walk or everything shut the fuck down. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that because that's the only reason why I don't have anything, because I was like robbed of everything. But when I graduated high school, I did make my cap and gown, and it did have like a Goku thing. It said I'm a punny girl, so it said Saiyan school kids, so you can go on and be great, and it had like a picture of Goku on my graduation cap. So that's important to me because I was just like, this show helped me get through countless nights of like, you know, studying. Like it helped me figure out who I am. Like literally, like I said, Young Goku came in high school because Kid Goku was like my favorite version of Goku. Like his charisma, his funniness, like his drive, his ambition, wanting to be for his friends. He's an Aries like me. Like everything just, you know, made sense. Raised by his grandparents. Like so it was important to me to show that like in my schooling or just in my everyday life, because I was just like, it's a part of me. So in school, I mean, I cosplay, but I didn't really like wear that on campus and everything. Like we both went to Hampton. I'm not sure when you went if it was still how it was when I went, but it was a very bougie school. So when I say that like women are going to school with heels on, full faces of makeup, hair is laid, like you know, people are really dressing to impress. And then you see me, maybe I have a bonnet on or like an oversized anime hoodie, and they're like, "What is she wearing?" Like. And that actually really happened. Like girls were talking about me on Snapchat because I was like, I had my bonnet on campus, and I was like, bitch, I do not feel good.
They said, take that damn bonnet off. You going to class.
I feel good. I was going to the calf, actually. I was going to go get some food, and then I was going back to my dorm. But
they did not care.
I was about to say, they was tripping on that. I thought you was going to class.
Like after a while, because they have NecoCon in Hampton. So when I went to NecoCon and I brought some of my classmates with me, like after that, it kind of was just like, okay, I'm gonna wear my anime shirt. I'm gonna wear what I need to wear. Like then it started becoming like dudes coming up to me. Oh, what should I watch? What should I get into? And then I'll never forget that also within me graduating, they finally created an anime club. And I was invited to like sit in on a few meetings just to like, you know, give my input and just like see if I liked it. I'm like, good. Wish I would have made this before, but you know, I'm glad y'all have this now. So, yeah.
Well, see, I graduated a long time before this baby Onyx. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, they ain't have an anime club or nothing. It was that whole situation where it's like you gotta look for the signs. You walk by somebody's room, you see a poster or something, or you see somebody wearing a t-shirt, like, so you watch Dragon Ball Z? Yeah, you watch Dragon Ball Z? Yeah. But as I tell everybody this, if they from the hood, they watched Dragon Ball Z before. I don't care who it is. My uncle came from out of jail, was asking us about what happened with Vegeta and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, nah. If you in the hood, you didn't watch Dragon Ball Z before. And then everybody in the hood and played Madden, the 2K, so they all gamed. So it's just like the nerds are out there. It's just, especially back then when I was in college, it was just so, you know, oh man, we can't talk about it. But then you see everybody in the damn dorm in there. Why is everybody in the room? Why is there a line up there? Oh, they playing 2K.
Literally, you know I would have.
So it's crazy, but as far as me mixing, let me think, my identity, I haven't done anything as far as putting anything with noob stuff or noob paraphernalia in with my cosplay yet. I did want to mix some stuff in there with Mario because Mario always wearing red. And since I'm a noob, that just goes hand in hand. I haven't done it yet, but I saw a line recently, the video of a line, I forgot what kind.
The Jujutsu Kaisen.
The Jujutsu Kaisen, yeah.
That was hard.
I see them young campers. I was like, oh, they in cosplay. I was like,
that was fire.
I can start crying right now. I was like, oh my God, my heart. Because, the whole line was just as Yuji. Like, for me to see that was just beautiful. Because it's like, in Divine Nine, you would think like we the bougiest of the bougie, especially Kappas. So to see the whole line being into Jujutsu Kaisen like that, and man, I was loving every moment of it. You know what I'm saying? I seen them boys shimmy, and I was like, all right. I was like, these young boys clean. And I was like, all right. So once I saw that made me want to like, okay, maybe I should mix some stuff in there with cosplay. But I haven't yet, but I have planned to. Y'all might see us at DreamCon. You might see the news. Got something planned for DreamCon.
Y'all should. No, that's cool. I did, because like when I was interested in that in undergrad, like that was my thing. I wanted to like bring that to my line. Like if I was to do that, I was gonna bring that to them. Like we should do this, or like at least my name had to be a part of it. Like I wanted, like not that I wanted to, but like all those ideas I did have, not enough to make a club. I don't know why. Like I was really always talking about it. I don't know why it never became club stat. People didn't like me, but that's okay. That's not really here or there. But coming soon too, especially school-wise, because I just feel like I go back to school. Well, I haven't been back to homecoming in the last 2 years, but I definitely wanted to go back to homecoming this year and like have a little custom fit, but also like just embrace like my school side and my anime side. Because I always, when I did go to homecoming, my outfits were very like talked about, like because I like to be different, like I said. So I definitely that was like an idea, huh?
Was it talked about in a good way this time?
Yeah,
Okay,
always a
okay,
good way.
okay.
But you're always gonna have haters even when it is good. So, like, but yeah, definitely wanted to bring that concept to homecoming this year because I wanted to go.
So, we're kind of getting close to time. Now I want to open it up for questions at like 8:30. This next question is, and anyone can answer. How do you approach the design and creation of your costumes? And what are some of your favorite materials or techniques to work with?
I'll shut up for a second and let some of the.
I'm gonna say I don't really make mine all the time, so the
I mean, I
creators.
make mine, but I definitely want you guys to have a chance to shine and
Okay.
tell about your creativity.
So like when it like Cyborg, for example, I love going to Harbor Freight, and I was literally just talking with my friend earlier about like how important like Home Depot and Lowe's is to, like when it comes to making like props and stuff. Like, I mean, I got my crocodile hook right here. I mean, it's kind of big. I don't know if you
Oh, wow.
see the entire thing, but um, like Hobby Lobby is a must too. But
Mm.
yeah, like I made that in like 3 days out of styrofoam balls, caulk, and then plastic dip and all that other good stuff. But the process, it can be challenging sometimes. Like I know when I had did Alphon, like that was my first big build, and I literally finished that cosplay the day of the con and showed up at like 1 p.m. to meet up with my friends. But yeah, definitely foam mats, contact cement. Like if I'm ever judging a cosplay contest, like if somebody mentions contact cement, I know that that person knows what they're doing because that contact cement is like the toughest glue that you can use when it comes to making props and whatnot. Um, but yeah, that's all I got.
Well, like when the creative process, when I've jumped in, like I said, when I first started cosplaying, I was just too big to buy anything. Like, and a lot of the props that I would want, even though they'd sell them, they're just too small. Like, I'd want to buy guns and they'd be small or they look real small with me holding them. So it was like, all right, you know what? I just got to learn how to make everything myself because if I try to buy it, it's not going to look right or it's not going to fit. So I had to, similar to you, Benjamin, I had to learn how to, work with EVA foam. I had to learn how to use plasti dip. I had to learn how to prime. I had to learn how to use the heat gun. I pretty much the whole step by step. And Kamui cosplay, I'm not gonna front like I just out of nowhere learned it. Kamui cosplay has a lot of videos where I was able to go on YouTube and see her tutorials. But her tutorials helped me to create these things. And luckily, with like trial and error, I was cosplaying so frequently that I got really good at it to where like I remember C2E2 2019, I had built my Witcher armor for when I did Gerald of Rivia, and I built my Moff Gideon armor from The Mandalorian 2 days before C2E2. Like that's how good I got at armor building. But that was through a lot of trial and error and just practice and practice, because once you get the hang of it and the steps, it's like clockwork, you know. So that's how I kind of kicked it off. Sewing is something I'm still trying to learn. Sewing is a little more difficult. I
Man,
sometimes I just want to just glue it together. Oh, let me just glue this fabric together.
yeah, I saw it like as somebody that sewed because I just did a Bowser cosplay. Like hand sewing is horrible. It takes forever. Like sometimes you'll spend hours just doing it. Like everybody that's watching, highly recommend getting a sewing machine if you want to sew because
That's my next kind of line of fire is getting a sewing machine because I'm tired
Yeah.
of buying stuff.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I'm,
so oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, I was gonna say I'm a shopping queen. My Amazon cart is filled right now as we speak, honey. And that's my problem because I'm a resourceful person and very versatile. So if something were to break or I need to make something on the spot, I can do that. Like I remember one time, like I had a Chung Li cosplay, and those her little bun things. Like I didn't have any. I cut up a t-shirt, stuffed it with a sock, and like sewed it on top of like a headband, and it looked amazing. Like it was like I do like little DIY stuff like that. Like I know how to make a I can safety pin the fuck out of something and it'll freaking stay. Like, you know what I'm saying? But with the sewing, because like in college, I took a sewing class because I was like, okay, I'm a cosplayer. I like cosplay. I took a costume class. They taught us how to sew and stuff, but she wasn't really a good teacher. So I didn't really get the skill and the technique like I wanted to. And I didn't kind of venture off to do that. But fortunately, I'm blessed, like I said in my bio, with the family and the community that do these things. And so I'm like, hey, help me out. And they do. When it comes to hair, makeup, even 3D printing, sewing, I'm a little spoiled. I'll just ask my friends and they'll be like, we got you. And so I'm just very grateful for that. But I do want to learn because like I said, I just do a little quick 1-2. If it'll get me here and there, I'll sew it up a little real quick. But the actual like building the armor and the what's the wobble stuff, Warba and
Warbler.
yeah, Warbler, yes, and like the props. Like I really want to get into that, but that's I'm not I don't have a steady hand and I can't draw straight, so I just get scared.
And make sure you learn from the right person. Because
Yeah.
you're telling that story, and I blame Chris English, Papa Bear cosplay. I blame him for my bad habits in cosplay because he told me the 5-foot rule. And I wish he never told me that. As long as they don't come 5 feet close to you,
right? And that means we
you'll
don't
have
come
will look
in.
totally good. But if they get too close, they gonna see all the blemishes and that you tape stuff together and stuff. He taught me those bad habits.
Yeah. I love how democratic like cosplay is. Like I've recently invested in some like sci-fi makeup, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Tay had just told me like we're running up on time, so I got like 2 questions, then we're gonna open up for the floor. See if anybody on YouTube has any questions. Um, so where do you all see the future of Black cosplay heading? Are there any exciting trends or changes?
I kind of see it heading very worldwide. I feel like it already is because even not in America, Black people ever like I don't know if y'all saw like there was like a anime convention in Africa and like they have some like in the Caribbean too and stuff like that. So I just think it's gonna keep going worldwide. And hopefully one day I hope we see like a TV show on there, like at least a documentary and such. I know people have done like their own personal things and I've watched that myself with friends that have made their things, but on NBC or PBS, whatever, like I kind of really Netflix, if you will, I kind of really do want to see that, and not just like I do want to see it highlighting Black cosplayers, but just cosplay in general, like how it became a thing, the history of because I feel like everybody was have the same story, 10 plus years ago where it wasn't popping. Now it's popping, and just to see how it's created, I would love to see that in the future.
I feel like cosplay will now give freedom to the next generation where they don't have to hide like I did or like a few people back in the day. They don't have to hide their hobby. And I hope that it goes beyond cosplay, that they could just be their truth self, no matter what they're into, no matter like if they think it's nerdy or not the norm or whatever. So I feel that this will open a lot of doors because I know I want my kids to get into cosplay and everything and be their true authentic selves.
I make my niece watch anime with me all the time. I'm like, you gonna learn this, girl. You gonna learn.
Yeah.
Like my daughter, she does not. My daughter's anti-nerd, so she hopefully I have a grandkid one day that wants to, cosplay. My daughter, she's not hearing it. But about the cosplay community, the Black cosplay community, with the good, there's always the bad, and we do have a bad tendencies in the Black cosplay community. There's a lot of people who judge cosplays, like judge them outside of competitions. They judge how people cosplay, what they cosplay. And I want it to be more of a free space like it was back when I first started in 2017. Because the
Mhm.
way I see things going now, it's almost like it's a popularity
Oh
contest. And it's
yeah.
cool
Right.
if that's what people want to do, but not everybody wants to do that. If if a group of girls want to do Power Rangers and there's two Black Rangers and they take pictures, they shouldn't get ridiculed online.
Yeah.
If somebody, and these are Black cosplayers making fun of these people. I've
Yeah.
seen it.
Mhm.
So I would like for the Black cosplay community to come together as a whole versus like the cliquish thing. Because the cliquish thing, I've only seen negativity with it. And I've seen people
Yeah.
who want to do it for fun look at cosplay like, you know what, this is just like more anxiety causing. This is more depression. It's caused me to have depression. And then they backed out of the community. And I'll be like, why'd you leave?
Yes.
And then they'll tell
Yes.
me these stories. And I'm like, damn, we can't, start ostracizing our own people. Like we have enough to
Mhm.
deal with like racism and other races. Like we at least have to come together and support each other. Like this
Yeah.
28 days of Black cosplay. I have not been seeing a lot of people share a lot of other Black people.
I
And
agree
this
with
is the first time I saw it like that, where it's like,
that.
like why aren't people sharing other Black cosplayers anymore like that? You know,
Yeah.
and that it's just so I just wish that we all could come together again and have fun with it, make it about fun, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I agree. I think something like that happened at DreamCon where a guy was like filming.
Yes. And he did the video. Mhm.
Yeah,
Fun. Yeah.
and I'm like, why is that even necessary? Why not support like your fellow nerds and whatnot? Why are you there if
And
you're
Right.
just
that's what I was speaking on earlier. Like a lot of when I was saying like a lot of people are coming into these spaces because they see it's popular now, or
Exactly.
maybe because they are being themselves or have you will, but they don't know the culture. They don't know the what's the common courtesy. They don't have the decorum to when it comes to coming to these events to know you're not supposed to make fun of your fellow con members. You're supposed to make sure everybody feels comfortable, safe, respectful. If you have a question, ask, or if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. So I do agree with you, Venture, on that. Like it has changed. Like everything does feel like a popularity contest. Like you have to have the best effects, you have to have the best hair, the best this. And even though we do see some white people that are cosplayers, their stuff is like real professional. Like they'll have the whole set and
Yeah.
everything, which is fine. But I do miss the fun. Like it shouldn't be held like on such a high pedestal or high standard that you have to look exactly like I hate those comments. Oh, you have the mole in the wrong eye, or like your contacts aren't the set. Like shut the fuck up. Like I do not have to look exactly like the character. You're gonna leave me alone. And I think it comes with the white cosplayers because they look so much like the character and they want to. They put that on us, but it's like
Yeah.
we're better than them in a sense because we do our own thing. Like we're not trying to look exactly like the character on purpose. We want to embrace ourselves and our culture. So I do want to see back to the fun and more just people doing their own thing with it, like the hair, the outfits, the earrings, the everything. I love when I see a Black cosplayer because I'm like they made it theirs. Like
Yeah.
Because if you think about the guy that was getting made fun
And
of
I
at,
think
huh? Oh, I was gonna say the guy that was getting made fun of at DreamCon, he was in the Sailor Moon outfit, and
Sailor Moons.
he was plus size guy. And I'm like, everybody has a backstory,
Yeah.
So him getting made fun of, that could have been his one time of the year where he felt free and to do whatever he wanted. So it's like for him to get made fun of like online like that was bullshit. And like for you, young Goku, you have a huge following. But I guarantee you, a lot of them don't know that you were made fun of or that you were ostracized when you were coming up. They just think like, oh man, her cosplay career is so great. She's got a huge following. But they won't think like, look, you say something about her doing that could discourage her from wanting to cosplay anymore because that was her one safe space. And she has this like backstory that was challenging like that. So it's really sad that this happens. There's a lot of beautiful things in the cosplay community, but there's some dark things in the cosplay community as well.
And me personally, I just like to highlight my backstory, like my hardships, because I do want to encourage people to, do what they love to do. Like like you said, some people may think like I just had it perfect my whole life and I haven't, and I really do speak on that a lot on my page because I just want people to know like you can still find joy in dark times and just like come from that. Like you can build your own confidence up though others are trying to bring you down. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Um,
So I want to piggyback off of like everything that everybody was saying. Like people just need to just show support and respect the things that people do. I mean, there's just so many times where it's just like people like they'll criticize you and like you were saying, Venture, like the Sailor Mars cosplayer. That could have been his first cosplay, and now somebody's making fun of him, and now he doesn't want to cosplay anymore. You know, it's hard being a black cosplayer already, and it's even worse when you have other black people try to tear you down. And I know everybody isn't confrontational. Like I've had people like say stuff to me at cons, and like I usually put them in their place, and then they shut the fuck up and keep it moving. Um, but it's like not everybody can do that. So it's like
yeah.
I just hope that in the future for black cosplayers that it's like everybody just shows everybody love. They show everybody respect. And if you see like that somebody messed up on something, like you don't have to criticize or ridicule them. Like you can be like, hey, like something on your outfit is messed up. Like, did you know about that? Like, you can offer advice, especially if you've been in the game for a long time, because you always have to remember where you started at. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's what I look at as a cosplayer. If somebody ever like comes up to me and like they ask for advice, it's just like I would never break them down and say you did this wrong, you did this wrong. Because as somebody that's making their cosplays and making their props, I'm still learning as well. And like that's something that we always say in wrestling. You're always learning. Like no matter how long you've been in the business, you're always learning. So being a cosplayer, you're always learning. There's always going to be new material, new things that you can work with, so that way that you can become better. And as long as everybody just respects everybody, the cosplay community will be on the right path.
Yeah, I think what all you all said is really important. I think for me, what I would like to see in the future is again because a lot of my cosplay experiences it's not in non con spaces, so like the raves, the theme parties, like bar crawls. I wish people like the way that I see people start coming to like my friends like burlesque shows because she does nerdless. Everybody, all the dancers are in some type of nerd thing. Every type of rave that I go to, whether it's Shrek rave, SpongeBob rave, I'm going to a
Yes.
rave. I always tell people like you do not have to go to a con. Like for me, I get overstimulated, but if it's like a live music event, like it doesn't bother me as much. And I was saying like you might just be like a nerd less cosplayer or like go to a gaming tournament. That might be your thing too, and that's okay. And the kind of responses that I've gotten online, it's always been like, oh, I wish I could do that. And I'm like, yeah, you can. And sometimes like when we do hold these positions or we're visible online or offline, sometimes you just have to tell people like, yeah, you can and it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Very vocal about that.
You know what? That's like I'll tell anybody because a lot of people will hit me up and ask me to share their cosplays, and they'll ask me like, how much does it cost? I'm like, it don't cost me anything. It don't cost you anything. Yeah, I'll share.
Costs nothing
You
to
gotta
reshare.
ask. Yeah, you just gotta ask. What's your page so I can put the tag on there, and that's literally it. Because I know how I started. You know, shit, it took me a long time before I was popping. You know, so I feel like if we all just work together, we all, when one of us needs help, help them. You know, and it always works out in the end. Because I see how the other side is where they work together like crazy and they
Exactly.
come up together, and I
Mm-hmm.
see it.
One of my favorite things, I always say the table is big enough for everybody to eat, It's just unfortunate that greed is one of the biggest downfalls in communities, but the table is big enough for everybody to eat. I'm very big on support. I support everybody. Like I'm not even though some people don't support me, I'll still, pray for them. I may not repost them, but I'll pray for you now. That's the best support you can get. But anybody else, I support that because respect is respected back.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Grabbing the barrel, man. You grabbing the barrel.
Right, right. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. I was trying to check in with Tunde if there was any like YouTube chat questions.
I saw he said there wasn't any, I think. He had posted that in the chat earlier.
Okay, well, I guess
How much earlier?
we can answer another question.
How much earlier? 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just messaged again. Directly. I was like, "How about now?" I guess we'll answer one final question. It's like, what advice do you have for aspiring Black cosplayers who might feel intimidated or unsure about joining their local cosplay scene?
Do it.
Yeah. I would say
Small.
to make your cosplay your cosplay. Like it doesn't matter if you're 100% doing the character, as long as you feel like you're that character, then
Literally.
that's yeah, you're doing something right.
So, well, I tell a lot of people start off small. If
Yes.
you just buy a t-shirt, like she was talking about, you can buy a Superboy t-shirt, throw it on. That's a cosplay Superboy, literally right there. You know, you could, if you're a girl, you could buy a Spider-Man t-shirt. That's Mary Jane. Buy a red wig. So start small. You know, you don't have to. I think a lot of people pressure themselves when they think about they want to start because they want to do the biggest cosplay or the best thing like right away. And it's like, look, don't pressure yourself like that. It'll come. You know, start off small, do something that's practical, that's easy, and then learn. And then you just keep going from there. You know.
The best advice
Honestly,
is go to your
go ahead.
go to your first con and just talk to people. Like,
yes.
Form bonds with people, ask questions, because it's like you might see somebody there that might be cosplaying as, let's just say, Luffy, for example, and then you'd be like, well, where'd you get that costume from? And then they're like, oh, I got it from Amazon, and then bam, now the next time you go to a con, you're cosplaying as Luffy because you made it. So talk to people, form friendships, because then you can do cosplay groups with people, and then that's when the real fun begins. Yeah.
Thanks.
Honestly, like for me, one of my friends just was like, "Yo, I'm going to a Disney dance party called Be Our Guest."
Yes,
And I was like, I don't have a costume. She was Meg, and she had already bought a costume. I was like, I don't got money for that. So I went to Walmart. I was like, I'm gonna find a Mickey Mouse ears. And lo and behold, they had Minnie Mouse. And I just threw on a black dress and did my makeup crazy. And I was like, okay, I like how this feels. So I just kind of kept going. And then I went to a bar crawl and I was like, actually, let me buy an actual costume. So I bought a Bulma from Dragon Ball costume. And then that was like it. I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but this feels fun.
Yes.
Also, too, something that I wanted to add to what I said is if you go to your first con and cosplay and nobody approaches you and asks for a photo or anything, don't feel discouraged, because sometimes it's like people, they're not going to come to you. People are shy. People are introverts. So just go and have a fun time. And yeah.
I was gonna say, the advice I always give people every time if anybody ever asks me, be yourself because everyone else is taken. And that's just one of my favorite quotes. I live by that every single day because why be like somebody else? And then you just, like I said, you just never know what other people are gonna like, that you like as well, and that's how you make a community. And I agree with go to a con because like even though I've been going to cons since I was in high school, when I graduated college and I moved back home, I went to Anime NYC. That was my first con because I was like, I'm an adult. I want to go on a trip. I roomed with some random girl I didn't even know. And like when I got there, fortunately, I kind of already had made a group online. I forgot I even made a group online. Like we all dressed up as Tokyo Avengers and then we met and it was just like we all just became friends like right after that. And it was just like it was just like a sense of community. And back to what you guys were saying, we were like, if you feel like that character, do that. Like my first cosplay ever, well, even though it was Pichu, but like to an actual convention was Kid Goku. Like I had my my power rod and everything. Like I painted my power rod, I painted my Dragon Balls. Like I had the little monkey tail, I had everything, and I was like, I feel like Goku, and I just felt so confident and so good. And like even though people you know, at first people weren't coming up to me, but then people did because they're like, "Oh my gosh, she's Goku. That's so cool." But like, even if people don't come up to you, I do encourage people to go to other people because you might make their day, and then that interaction that you have with each other, it might make your day too because y'all just could click or whatever. So yeah, that's the advice I give. And be nice. Just be nice. Do not be nasty.
I don't know about rooming with somebody I don't know, but
Okay, that was just me. I didn't encourage
you
nobody
know
else.
what I'm
That was
saying?
that
I don't
was
know
me.
about that
Don't be yourself, right? Be yourself. That was me.
part.
Wow. Tunde just messaged me and said that there are no questions, so I'm gonna close this out. So let me. Ooh, sorry, I'm trying to share my screen and it's crashing.
Oh no.
Okay, here we go. So audience, as you all know, here are some pictures from previous HBCU con cosplay members, or like our Black Sucon, which was like last week, which happens at CatSucon each year. Closing remarks. We had to do one for Kendrick K. Dot for our title. Not like us. We hope that today's conversation keeps you full, whether you are a seasoned novice or experienced, whether you're an HBCU graduate or considering pursuing education at a HBCU. Please note that we are here to support you on your educational journey, on your cosplay journey, and we got you. So
Thank you.
that's all that I have. Panels, if you want to just tell our lovely viewers at home where they can find you all.
You can find me on Facebook at Venture Bros Cosplay.
Oh.
You can find me on Instagram at venture__bros. Also, you can find me on TikTok, venture__bros, and on Twitter, Venture Bros 2, and on was it Butterfly as venture__bros. And what else? I think that might be, oh yeah, Threads. That's venture__bros too. So
Hi guys. Okay, you guys can find me every single where. Young Goku, 1G, 2U's. Some places may have an underscore, most of them don't. I will be at BlurredCon and AwesomeCon because those two are coming up. So if you're in the area or going to those, reach out.
I think I'm everywhere. I know I'm on Instagram, TikTok. Instagram is shakeyourfun_cosplays. TikTok is just Shake Your Fun. I think I have a Twitter. Shake Your Fun. Just look up Shake Your Fun. You'll find me.
You can find me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, on Facebook. It should be Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up, but not that I need to contact Zuckerberg. I have a podcast. It's Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and on all social medias, it's at Leveling Up Banks. Yeah.
Yay. In audience, you can follow my little cosplay adventures at Mocha Hime. Mocha, like coffee, but the O is a 0, and then Hime, the E is a 3 at the end. So yeah, and that concludes our panel. Hope you all had a great Black History Month, and best of luck to your